Super Unleaded, the high-octane gasoline with a plus. By AT&T, the right choice. By Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. And by the Gold Card.
Copter cam with Commander Doug Wilkes doing the picture taking inside of that. And there's a look at the real commander in this race, Jeff Scuffins, who is from Hagerstown, Maryland, and Jeff is leading the race. Jeff is from Hagerstown, Maryland. The female leader right now, Mary Salamone, is from Centerville, Virginia, but there are lots of racers from all over. Virginia is the #1 state in terms of number of runners in the race. 2,723 participants from Virginia. Maryland is second, 1,748. Then comes New York. 1,229 folks have come down from New York, represented by 1,185 folks. But there are runners and athletes from all over the world in here. In fact, total entrants by countries, there are 27, including 5 from Australia. There's Scuffins and his time. There are 2 from Argentina. Bermuda represented, Brazil, Bolivia, Canada, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, El Salvador. France has 5 folks, Germany 4, 24 from Great Britain, including a team which we'll talk about momentarily. Italy with 3, and the Italians with some great long-distance runners. Ireland represented, Jamaica, Japan, a couple of people, Lebanon 1, Mexico 10, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Panama, Puerto Rico, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and Venezuela. And naturally, most of the runners are comprised from the military, the United States Marine Corps, with 1,086 folks. From the Navy, 743. The Army, 1,032. The Air Force, 311. Coast Guard, 50 representatives. From the National Guard, 129. And Foreign Services are made up by 67 folks. So you can see there are people not only from all walks of life, but from all types of occupation, nationality, different creeds, and just about every type of athlete, whether they be handicapped, wheelchaired, whatever, they are here represented today in the nation's capital. There is the #1 runner, Jeff Scuffins, from Hagerstown, Maryland, who right now is on a record pace.
He just ran, Steve, his 20th to 21st mile. In that mile, he ran a 5:05 mile. He's still running about a 2:13 marathon, which would smash the record here. And at this stage, you know, having completed 21 miles, just 5 miles to go, I think he can smell victory. You know, it's that classic thing, the horse knowing the barn's near, he wants to get back, and this guy knows he's got it. I don't think he's going to break down. I think he looks strong.
I was just going to say, if you look at this fella, he does not appear to be lagging at all. He, first of all, looks like a very strong young man. He's, did we just find out he's 25 years old?
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And he really looks very fresh right now, and he obviously is in tip-top shape.
One thing is because he's got a good rhythm going there, and I think that's the key. Even if you're tired, if you can maintain a comfortable rhythm, then you've got this thing won. And Mary Salamone is the same way. You can watch her a little bit. I can tell she's slowed down slightly, but look at her arm swing. Her shoulders are down. Her wrist is coming approximately right where her hips are, and that's good form right there. And that's the key. I know in races, even 10,000s and 15Ks I've run, you've got to hold your form. When you're tired, it's so easy for your shoulders to come up. You start running kind of side to side, but you want everything to go forward. And you can tell that, look at her legs. Very smooth right there. She's staying low to the ground. Her head's not bouncing a lot, so she's maintaining form. And this is an unbelievable race for her. You know, right now the top women's time in the country is 2:34, and she's not that far behind her.
Let's take a look now at a piece that we've prepared for you on some of the athletes who are running in wheelchairs. The wheelchairs started at 5 minutes till 9 this morning, 10 minutes before the regular runners began running.
And I've been in about 50 marathons altogether in the past 10 years. The Marine Corps Marathon, I've been there for about, this is my 8th year. And the course itself is, technically, it's not the best course for wheelchairs. There's bumps, there's curves, there's hills got to deal with. There's turns in places where you'll have to go down. So therefore, you cannot get your best time on this course. Sometimes the weather doesn't cooperate and there's a lot of wind, and that will slow you down 10, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. See, the chair itself, your times depend on the technology of the chair. This is my second Bob Hall chair. I've finally got the technology down to where it's working for me. I'm getting another chair. It's on order, and it definitely should be 5 to 10 seconds per mile faster than the chair I'm sitting in. I should win the race. I don't think there's going to be all that much competition. I should win. I expect to win. I would like to get it under 2 hours, but it depends on the weather and how I feel at that time. The cold is going to have some effect. You know, I do better when it's warm compared to cold weather. But, you know, I simply just hope to blow them all away. That's all I can say.
And we are live looking at Bowie, Maryland's Ken Archer. And Ken Archer just continues to dominate this competition in the wheelchair. He has won this thing 5 out of 7 times that he has participated, and he is nearing the finish line.
We can see him right behind us. Now, this is tough for Ken Archer because the finish is slightly uphill. So he's having to pushing his body weight in the chair, but he's got a commanding lead. He's like 152 around that right now. His best ever on Boston, which is a downhill course for a wheelchair, is 155. So he is pushing the best race of his life right here.
Well, he'll make a nice birthday for himself, which comes up in just a couple of months, January 7th, 1949. And Ken has 4 children, and his wife, Marcia, very proud of him. Jason, Kurt, and Kenny, all very proud of their dad, who will win this the 6th time in 8 tries for Ken Archer, who will be the champion in the wheelchair division.
He trains about 60 miles a week, and these guys really put in a hard effort, both women and men in the wheelchair. And he was saying that he's really wants to do well here, and right now we can tell that he's really on a good pace. And he told me the other day that what he has to do is basically under his arms. He's got calluses under his arms from pushing so many marathons because the wheels end up hitting his arms quite often. And he said that you just have to get quote callous to it, and he was really wanting to push
the way
it.
The runners, with, you know, non-handicapped runners there would maybe get their blisters or have problems with their feet. These guys, their struggle is with their biceps, their triceps, their backs, and under their arms, that sort of thing.
And with working with so many of these type of athletes over at Gallaudet and in different parts of the country, they often don't like to be referred to as disabled. It's just a better description. They don't feel that they're actually handicapped.
They don't look disabled. That's, you know, I mean, to be able to go out in a wheelchair, I once sat in a wheelchair and tried to push myself on a flat just a little bit. These guys are going, I don't know, 440 miles or 450 miles?
And here he comes across the finish line. The first finisher of the Marine Corps Marathon is Ken Archer from Bowie, Maryland.
He's not handicapped, he's handicapable.
Ken Archer is the winner of the wheelchair division, and we will return to show you much more of the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon as Angela Robertson gets set to interview Ken live, and we'll do that in just a couple of minutes. There's the lead runner among the males, Will Alston, who is trailing at this point and just behind Jeff Scuffins. But right now, let's go to Larry Matthews from WMAL Radio, who is on the lead truck. Larry?
We have just gone past the 23-mile mark, and Jeff Scuffins is sensing victory in this Marine Corps Marathon. For a time around Haynes Point, it got pretty brisk, and he had a grimace on his face, and like he was beginning to suffer a little bit. But then I think he began to realize that nobody is even close to him. And it's now, as we head back across the Potomac over into Virginia, he has that kind of passive smile on his face. People are cheering him on. He looks very, very strong. And we have not been able to see anyone else in this race for quite some time now from the truck. Looking back, we cannot see who is in second place or third place or anyone else. Jeff Scuffins has been very strong. He has been in the lead for most of this race. And interestingly enough, Chris Fox, the man with until Fox broke down, had a stitch in his side around the Washington Monument. Chris Fox just got on a bicycle and then started riding along around Haines Point, urging Jeff on, telling him, go ahead, you have a record pace going, and he seemed to react to that. But that seems to be about the only thing Jeff is reacting to. He has gone past the last 3 or 4 water stations and has waved people off, saying no water, no anything. He is certainly sensing victory as we cross the Potomac River. There are some cars that are driving along next to him, people looking at him. He's glancing at them from time to time. But as you can see, he is, I think, quite rightly expecting to win this race at a record pace. As we cross the Potomac, Jeff Scuffins is in a commanding lead, and you can see way back across the 14th Street Bridge, there is nobody bearing down on him. That's it from the truck.
Thanks, Larry. That's a great-looking shot, too, with the monument back there. Still a little hazy, as you can see, and somewhat smoky. 13th Street Bridge, mile number 23. He is just 3 miles and 385 yards away from victory. And we are sorry if we have neglected some of the second and third place runners, but the information pretty much just now getting to us as to who is trailing Scuffins at this point. Missy?
Yeah, Daryl General is in the second position right now, and he was born in Washington, D.C. He's only like 22 years old, and he could be having the race of his life because his best was way over 2 hours and 20 minutes, and so he could be on an Olympic qualifying pace himself, but it's just that this guy is running so strong, Scuffins, that the other guys are behind. We also know that Brad Ingram, Bill, is in the third position.
For a 2-time winner, that's, I think, a good, strong defense of his title there and everything. If he can hang on to top 3, that's an honorable race, as they say.
Mary Salamone is out on Haines Point. That's very flat out there. We had word a few miles ago that the second woman we thought was Pamela Briscoe. Now, enough, she won the 84 marathon, Marine Corps Marathon back in 84, and we didn't even know that she was entered. So she's got more experience because, remember, Mary has never run a marathon before. But you watch her arms, very mechanical here. She's pulling them back fine. She's going to her arms because, hey, at this point, when your legs get tired, Bill, you've got to start using those arms to carry the same pace.
Now, the woman is right with the motorcycle.
We also know that about 6 women, this is incredible, 6 women are under Olympic qualifying pace. That's under 2 hours and 50 minutes. 6 women are about on 2:44 pace. So we have a lot of people out there, hopefully even the back of the packers, that are going to knock a good bit of time off their personal best.
Yeah, I think on the men's side, too, if they're only a minute and a half behind Jeff Scuffins, and if he's doing a 2:13 marathon, that's going to put them well under 2:22.
We have a good shot of watching some of the runners' feet. Right here, what you think about, I think, when long-distance racing, you're so tired that you just want to quit sometimes. And it's so easy to get in kind of type of pace. And one of my coaches used to tell me, every time you put your foot down, act like that road is a hot plate. The minute you touch the ground, pick it up. Because it's so easy to let your foot stay on the ground longer, and that way you're just going slower and slower. It's a very in the middle game right here saying, okay, come on,
I think you're right.
Lift.
It's totally mental here. I mean, the wear and tear physically has beaten you up so much, I think you really have to talk your way through those last miles, tremendous amount.
Well, the average runner's feet strike the ground 1,600 times per mile, and for the marathon, these runners can expect their feet to hit the ground 41,920 times. It's amazing when you think about it, and we will continue live with the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon from Washington in just a moment. There's a look live at the female and male Scuffins on the left, Mary Salamone of Centerville, Virginia on the right, both with comfortable leads, and Scuffins right now is has passed the 23-mile mark.
You know, like I was saying earlier, Steve, that's the tough part. He knows he's got it won. You can see him looking at his watch. You can see the strain in his face. This has not been easy, but yet he's got it. He must, once you get over 23, you start feeling encouraged. Then you start, even though you're winning, he's gone through this struggle. But by now he should start saying, I'm close, I'm going to win. And that psychological feeling should pull him right to the finish.
His time on the previous 2 miles, the wheelchair winner is not a stranger by any means to victory at the finish line for that classification. He has won this now 6 times out of the last 8 times that he has tried it. He is Ken Archer, a mathematical statistician in the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and he is standing by live right now with Channel 5's Angela Robertson.
We are are in the winner's circle, as you say, with Ken Archer, a familiar face, a familiar champion to this race. Congratulations, Ken.
Thank you very much.
You are from the area, Bowie, Maryland. I think you have a few dedications you want to get out of the way first.
Yes, I'd like to dedicate this race to all the good people in Bowie, Maryland, also to my wife and 4 children. How you doing?
All that wonderful support. We talked a little bit about some of the weather complications we thought would affect some of our competitors today. You said no problem for you in this race.
Yeah, I like warmer weather. Plus, the smoke in the air didn't bother me all that much.
Very good. Always a champion. We've been talking, and I want you to, if you can't get a shot of these gloves, the leather's gone. It's been taped. Tell us about this. You were telling me they are scientifically designed to help you in this race.
Yeah, this is tape. The gloves and the chair are both scientifically designed to get the maximum speed. I've got friction tape on my hand rims, and it seems like, well, a lot of it's in the wrists. You get, when you take a stroke, downstroke right in that area, that's the most important. So right at the end where you're flicking your wrists a lot.
And you've done it again.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you. I'm going to let you catch your breath now. Ken Archer, once again, in the winner's circle. He's from Bowie, Maryland. As he says, he's dedicating this race and this victory to the good folks who supported him out there. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Ken, thank you very much, and congratulations. And we will be back after this short break and focus in on the man who is about to win this 1987 Marine Corps Marathon, Jeff Scuffins from Hagerstown, Maryland. We'll do that right after this. There, Scuffins from Hagerstown, Maryland, and Jeff will win, barring any problems in the last mile or so. He should win the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon.
He's been averaging the last couple of miles about 5:15 per mile, but that's still incredible when you're watching out there. 5:15 per mile, and yet he's slowing down some. But I think that's because right here, the course, it could possibly not have a tailwind, and plus he's been running a long time, so his energy reserves, his glycogen stores are down. Now it's mind over matter. Pushing yourself, I mean, he's got to be incredibly happy about being in the lead. He knows he can win if he can just maintain his cadence and his form right here, and he really doesn't look bad. When you think about this, it's close to 2 miles to go, and he's looking down at his watch, he's checking his pace. He's probably going, I can't believe I'm doing this. I mean, this has got to be the day of his life, and really, this is one of the top times this year in the marathon.
Men's marathon record for the Marine Corps is 2 hours, 16 minutes, 31 seconds. Dean Matthews holds that. He's from Atlanta.
And, you know, I know Dean Matthews, and this was one of his breakthrough races. I mean, Dean Matthews went on, he won the Honolulu Marathon, and he does very well in the past in 10,000-meter races. And he kind of got a name at this marathon. So this could be a real breakthrough for him.
The marathon record as far as the United States is concerned was set by Alberto Salazar in the Boston Marathon back in 1982. That was 2 hours, 8 minutes, 52 seconds. The world record is not much under that, 2 hours, 7 minutes, 2 hours, 7, 11 seconds. Carlos Lopez in 1985. So certainly one of the top times being turned in here by Jeff Scuffins, not only for this race, which if he continues his pace would break the record, but certainly not too far off of a world record, just a few minutes.
And you think that to qualify for the Olympic Marathon trials, which are coming up this April, you have to run right around 2:19, 2 hours and 9 minutes, smashing that. So this is going to be a big boost. He's got a good, hopefully a good win under his belt, a great time, and now he can kind of gear back and go for the Olympic trials. And that's a big accomplishment just in itself. And like we said before, we have about 6 women or more that are also, look like they can qualify for the Olympic trials. And I remember going to the Olympic trials in '84, and for a lot of us, just getting there is exciting.
Mary Salamone is the current female leader. She is running somewhere, obviously behind Jeff Scuffins, but out in front of the second place runner right now.
Yeah, Elizabeth Andrews, we can't see her, of course, but she's in second position right now for women. I talked to her the other day, and she was hoping just to run right at Olympic qualifying time under 2:50. She was 5th here back a few years ago at the Marine Corps, but Mary Salamone still has about a 2-minute lead, and she's still under course record. This is going to be exciting if we can get 2 course records on the same day.
Well, Jeff Scuffins is on his way right behind our broadcast position as passes behind us and in front of Jeff Scuffins. He will circle around the Iwo Jima Memorial. The memorial will be directly to his right as he passes. Well, actually, I'm sorry, he'll be circling around it. It will be directly to his left now.
This is a tough finish. I ran the finish line yesterday, and this is one of the toughest parts of the course. You know, talk about adrenaline. I'm sitting up here watching him, and I mean, my adrenaline, I feel like I want to get out there and run. And everyone's cheering for him, and he's going to win this marathon. This is going to be just a highlight in his career. And even if you're tired, Steve, at this point, if you're in the lead and you're running like an 8-minute or more personal record, I mean, you've got to feel sky high.
Last year, it was Brad Ingram in this position who ran the marathon in 2 hours, 23 minutes, 13 seconds. Here is Jeff Scuffins from Hagerstown with fans running towards the finish line now and cheering Jeff on. He is completely by the end of the pack as he has been through many, many miles. Jeff Scuffins gets the cheers and the applause as he heads towards the finish line, and he will be the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon winner.
You've got to think what he could have done even with other guys up there with him, because he's basically been all alone. That's tough. Boy, he's digging for it now. I mean, this is where you go to your arms, you forget about your form. He's already celebrating, though. I mean,
and he's run really a strong race, Missy. He has not backed down at all. He still looks fresh. He looks like he could run another 20 miles, and he is on his way to victory.
People are going to recognize his name. Of course, we didn't know a lot about him coming in, but with a 2:13, 2:14 low, he's right up there with the top cream of the crop of some of the Americans this year.
Here he comes crossing over and onto the grass, and Jeff Scuffins of Hagerstown, Maryland, is the winner of the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon.
What state are you from, sir?
Boy, right around 2:14, and you know, he was coasting coming in, and he was savoring that victory.
We will be back to talk with Jeff Scuffins and some of the other competitors in the Marine Corps Marathon, and we will return to do that from Washington right after this.
Name, sir?
Jeff Scuffins.
Plaza, Boston Common, and now in Wheaton Plaza. Call 8.
Marine Corps Marathon. Missy, you've got the female runner right here.
Mary Salamone is still in the lead, but we had word from the course that she has slowed down because she was running under a 2:40 pace, which was the course record. Now she's about on a 2:45 pace, so she's slipped, and you can see by her style here, she was clipping along earlier. Now you see it looks like more of an effort to her. Remember, this is her first marathon. We had some interesting notes on her. Her husband was an alternate for the Olympics in wrestling in 80 and 84 and won a bronze silver medal in the Pan American Games. He's watching her right now. Steve, she said she wanted to shoot for around 2:45, and she slipped kind of to that pace, but it's tough right here because this is her first ever marathon.
The Marine Corps Marathon winner for the men is Jeff Scuffins with a time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, 1 second. That is a course record, breaking the old record, 2 hours, 16 minutes, 31 seconds by Dean Matthews. And Jeff Scuffins is live right now with our Bill Rogers. Bill?
Steve, I'm here. Jeff Scuffins, a tremendous victory. Jeff, you've got a pair of shoes here with a bit of blood on them. I think this is a well-earned victory.
Well, thanks, Bill. That was pretty tough. I got out there after about 10 miles. I was pretty much on my own and just tried to concentrate, take it 1 mile at a time, and just kind of talk myself through it, and I held off. Like you can see, my feet were bleeding kind of bad, but just more or less stung.
And this is your first marathon?
Yeah, this is the first race over 10 miles ever.
Was your goal coming here to win this race, break the record, go for the Olympic trials? What were your thoughts at the starting line?
I just came here kind of low-key, didn't really tell anybody about it, just wanted to try to break 2:20, qualify for trials, and like I told you earlier, I got a little ahead of myself and just tried not to panic and stay relaxed and just tried to run comfortably.
That's one. I think it is incredible this is your first marathon, and I do believe it's correct. You've broken a course record. I think the shoes say it all with the blood saying this is what it's all about. It is incredible. When did you kick? When did you know you had it?
Well, I didn't want to get too confident too early, so I didn't really know I had it until I got into this last area here. When I saw 26, and I said, I can walk.
You can do it. Then piece of cake, huh, Jeff?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I just tried to stay relaxed the whole way and just run within myself.
That's wonderful. Bill, you were mentioning about the record time, the course an outstanding job for his first marathon.
That's a big gap to take 2.5 minutes off the course record. It was a pretty old record. I think the organizers here, the Marine Corps, are real pleased to see the time get really chopped down there. And I think, you know, there's no question everyone, I think, feels you ran a terrific race. Early on, you had company with Chris Fox.
Yeah.
We were wondering, was that kind of was he kind of helping you out, or was that a real, did you think he was going to disappear or stay on?
Well, he was pretty much using it as a training run to help me out a little bit, and, you know, also help himself out as far as the workout. I don't think he intended to go the whole way, and at 10 miles, he was kind of blistering up a little bit, too, and he just decided to get out. But that's all he really wanted to go.
Congratulations, Jeff,
Yes.
on a fantastic victory.
Thanks a lot.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
The winner. Back to you, Steve.
All right, folks, thanks a lot. The winner is Jeff Scuffins, a time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, 1 second. That is only 5 minutes and 9 seconds off the United States record. Time marathoner, as they said, truly amazing.
Right, he's taken so much off his best time, and I think one thing could be said, the race conditions today were about ideal, and we had word that Darrell General finished second, and he's from Washington, D.C., and he also qualified for the Olympic trials. So I think we've got a lot of good races out here still to come.
And we will continue to cover them for you live from the Iwo Jima Memorial when we continue with our 1987 marathon coverage on Channel 5 in just a minute.
The 1987 Marine Corps Marathon has been brought to you by your Washington area Ford dealers. Ford, the best-built, best-selling vehicles in America. By Perpetual, what your bank is going to be. And by the C&P Telephone Yellow Pages, the one that works.
Welcome back to the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon, the 12th such event. Won today by Jeff Scuffins from Hagerstown, Maryland, in a time of 14 minutes, 1 second. That is a new course record, just 5 minutes, 9 seconds off the U.S. record, which is held by Alberto Salazar. Here's a look at the top finishers now, Missy, and there's Scuffins and Darrell General finishing second.
It's a very good race for Darrell General. He's only 22 years old, and, you know, a lot of marathoners. Look at Bill Rogers here today. Bill's going to be turning 40, and he's still getting some of his best races out of him. So I think we're going to see a lot of runners in their 30s and close to 40s running personal best. So we could see a lot more of him. But Jeff Scuffins, that was just incredible. I mean, because he went for it early. He took the risk, and that was a big risk to take, but he pulled it out.
The women are shaping up to have a very competitive finish at this point.
You can see Mary Salamone. Now, interesting note here, Mary was running around 6-minute pace and under for half the race. Now she's slipped to a 6:42. And we've heard from the course.
And you're looking at a live to go. Jeff Scuffins won the 1980 marathon among the men. As you can see, he finished with a record-breaking time, a course record-breaking time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, 1 second. Darrell General from D.C. finished second. Thomas Fries was next. James Guildwell after him. And Gary Garsage was next, 2:24.14. There are your top men's finishers. Mary Robertson, as Missy said, made a bold move around a bold runner, as Mary Salamone was seemingly in command of this race for quite some time. She was running very strong, had a good lead on the rest of the field, but obviously we understand, too, that Mary Salamone, who was the leader for several miles, has dropped at least a minute behind the current leader, whom you are looking at right now, Mary Robertson, 25-year-old from Richmond, Virginia. I mentioned earlier some of the personalities and some of the folks who are in the race. Ari Wilkenfeld, entrant from D.C., was born in 1970. Simon Klein, who is from Silver Spring, Maryland, indicated that he was entering this race as a walker. His first attempt at 26 miles, but simply here to walk, which has certainly been very popular among many athletes lately. Some who are getting elderly in years would rather come out and walk. It's not quite as hard on the knees. William Butera from McLean, Virginia. William Butera, 73 years old, the oldest male Virginia entrant. So there are a lot of folks out here who are different personalities, different walks of life, who are attempting just to run and finish.
Let's look at Mary Robertson's face right here. Now, I could tell by her arm movements that she's really hurting right here, but if you look at her face, she looks like she's concentrating. That's the key. You can't look around. You have to concentrate. And by the look at her face, she looks like she's in control right here. I mean, you can tell by looking at people sometimes as they start their knitted eyebrows and start looking around. But she looks under Nice long stride. She's 5'7", which is fairly tall for a marathoner, and only 105 pounds, so she's not carrying around a lot of weight.
Projected to finish at 2 hours 43 minutes. The women's Marine Corps race record, 2 hours 41 minutes 48 seconds. Jan Yerkes in 1980.
I think one thing, interesting note, though, I remember when Jan won the marathon and set the course record, she was more of, quote, a known runner. I mean, she was in many national top races, 10Ks and marathons. But this girl, Mary Robertson, we haven't heard as much about her. She's a lawyer. I mean, she works full-time, and I think that's a credit to Mary Robertson, some of these people out here. For some of them, I mean, this is a hobby. This is something they do on the side. They put in 50-hour weeks and also put in about plus 50 miles a week, more like 75 miles a week. And I think she can smell victory here, though. I mean, she's going to her arms, she's pumping, she's lifting her knees, and I think she can hold on to a win if she stays the way she is here.
And a lot of that training, Missy, comes early in the morning, many times before work. Some of these folks are up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get their necessary running in before they have to go to work.
And I'm sure a lot of us watching me, even watching from here, think that's insane. I'm not really a good morning runner, but these people do what they have to do. And I think the interesting thing about this is the people's race. I'm sure Mary Robertson puts in a lot of mileage and working hard. At the same time, some of the people in the back, the men and women who are running 5 hours and 4 hours, you know, they still are putting in the 60-mile weeks, 70-mile weeks, doing 22 and 23-mile runs on Sunday morning. And so, you know, they can relate. They can feel the same type of things that the women are feeling. And we can see Mary Robertson now right behind us. And, Steve, I think she looks good.
Mary Salamone, who was leading, is about 1 minute 10 seconds behind. I do a lot of running between the couch and the refrigerator, but, you know,
Steve, we're hoping to motivate you from this, you know.
There's a great shot right in the background.
You know, some women are coming into running so late. Now, Mary's 25. She's a pretty young female right here. But, you know, like Priscilla Welch, who won New York last week at age 42. I mean, she should inspire some women out there. You can do it if you start training. Now, a lot of women start running just to drop weight and feel fit. But it's amazing what you can accomplish.
Checking her watch, she started at 5 minutes after 9 this morning.
One of the big movements now in running, too. A lot of people thought running was down, but there's been a lot of articles lately about how there's so many more women. There was a race on the West Coast, Wildlife Wednesday, that had over 50,000 runners, and it had more females than men.
Mary Robertson will win the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon among female runners. Did so coming from back in the pack and overtaking Mary Salamone of Centerville, Virginia. Mary Richmond, Virginia, kept a good pace throughout the entire race, kicked on the afterburners, and is now just a few hundred yards away from the finish line. You can hear the cheers of the people who have gathered here. And here she comes. 2 hours, 44 minutes, 33 seconds, and she crosses the finish line. Mary Robertson from Richmond, Virginia, an attorney, 25 years old, is the winner among the female entries of the 1987 Marine Corps Marathon. And we will be back to talk with her and others from the Marine Corps Marathon in Arlington right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Marine Corps Marathon. Steve Buckhantz, Missy Kane, and Bill Rogers with you. And the women's finisher has just crossed Mary Robertson. Mary Salamone, who was leading throughout the race, at least past the halfway point, also coming across the finish line, just a minute or so behind Mary Robertson. That is an aerial shot, obviously, of the Iwo Jima Memorial here in Arlington, Virginia.
That was a tough race, a very tough race for Mary Salamone, because, you know, when you get past, you've been leading that long, and people are cheering you on, and then all of a sudden you see someone pass you. I mean, it's like a lot of your energy right then, you just feel like, oh, can I still make it? Because, you know, a lot of your energy levels comes from, hey, I'm going to win. So that's really tough. I mean, that's very commendable just to keep going in that particular case. And we heard that Elizabeth Andrews was catching her, the girl that should be in the third position. So that's a tough feeling right there.
Mary Robertson standing by down in the winner's circle.
Steve, we are here with the winner, Mary Robertson, 25-year-old lawyer from Richmond, Virginia. Outstanding race. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a great run. I felt great all the way. It's a great, fast course. I just ran it the way I wanted to run all the way.
Well, when you first came here, why did you select the Marine Corps Marathon because you felt it was a fast course? I mean, was your motivation to win or to try to go for the Olympic trials? What were your motivations?
No, my motivation was to qualify for the trials, and I knew, I think I'm capable of a faster race, but I wanted to make sure I qualified, so my strategy was just to run 6:15s all the way through to about 20, see how I felt, and then go from there. And I pretty much held 6:15 all the way through, and then just started bringing it down as much as I could, because I knew I was back about 2 minutes, about 10 to 20, and then I felt all right, but good enough to go. So.
Have you raced this race before?
No, the only other marathon I did 2 years ago in Chicago.
Oh, this is fantastic. Weather was good to you. You took over around the 24-mile mark, is that correct?
Yeah, I think
Do you just block everything out, ignore everything, and use that mind over matter to make it?
Exactly. I just kept plowing ahead, and I was just getting as much out of it as I could. So I don't know what pace I was running, but it was...
It was the right pace you want.
Yeah,
that's right. That's all that counts in the end.
Yep.
I think Missy Kane, Steve Buckhantz is standing by. I think they may have a question for our champion here. Missy, Steve?
Mary, I was going to ask you one thing. What was your feelings when you made that pass there? I mean, I'm sure you're tired at that point, but what was your adrenaline level right then?
I felt good. My adrenaline was up. I had a cramp at about 21, and I felt a lot better. I just kind of worked right through it. And then once I was past it, I knew I just had to keep going strong so I wouldn't have to worry about it at the end.
So now what next? I mean, you know, we know the Olympic trials marathon's coming up, and that must be a big boost for you to qualify here with a great time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking to do, and have as short a recovery time as I could, so. Have a couple good months in front of me.
Mary, did you know when you were laying back in the pack and you saw a good lead by Mary Salamone, did you know that you would have enough kick left in you to be able to overtake her?
I really had hoped so, because endurance is my strength, and I knew if I just could be patient all the way through, I could pick up some at the end. And I knew it was a fast course, and I wouldn't have any problems with that. So it was a game plan, and it went accordingly.
Well, they're watching you on the cable right now in Richmond, Virginia. Anybody you'd like to say hi to?
Oh, lots of people there. I can go back to work on Monday. The pressure will be off.
Yeah, I think they'll allow you back.
Yeah, I think so.
Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Outstanding victory. Congratulations again, Mary Robertson.
All right, Mary Robertson, a winner today in the female entries, 2 hours, 44 minutes, 34 seconds. Jeff Scuffins won in the men's category, 2 hours, 14 minutes, 1 second. That is a new course record here at the Marine Corps Marathon. And once again, for the 6th time in 8 tries, Ken Archer, victorious in the wheelchair competition. Missy, it's been a pleasure to work with you. We appreciate it. You've done a wonderful job and certainly enlightened me, and I'm sure the viewers, on what it's like to be out there running in a race like this.
Well, I think we've got a lot of interesting finishers left to come. So I think I think this race was so well organized, and the weather was great. And the great thing is there are a lot of winners still coming in.
Also, thanks to my colleagues, Angela Robinson, Bill Rogers, Mike Ritz, Larry Matthews, and all the folks here at Channel 5 who have done such a wonderful job helping get this production on the air, and also the Marine Corps, Joe Rivera, and all of the folks who have worked so hard, the volunteers, the hundreds of volunteers who have helped to put this race on. Also tonight we'll have complete coverage from the locker room of the Redskins-Eagles game, which kicks off at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia in about an hour or so. Count on us at the 10 o'clock news to fill you in and bring you up to date on what the Skins did today. I'm Steve Buckhantz, live from the Iwo Jima Memorial. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again at the 1988 Marine Corps Marathon.
If you're allergic